Hi, Nadeem here for Smart Riding. I want to talk about blind spot detectors that are available for motorcycles. There's quite a few in the market now, and I've tested quite a few of them. And I want to talk about the pros and cons of the various systems that I have seen and the ones I've actually tried as well and have fitted to the bike. Now, the very first system I had was this one here, which is the Inovv Third Eye. Now, this comes as a standalone system that fits to the bike, and there's two options with it. There's like a little clock dial thing, this one here, that looks like this, which you just fit somewhere in your cockpit, and it shows you cars coming up either side of you. And it works pretty well, and it's got an audible alarm as well as a light that comes on either side. And it's fairly basic, but it was pretty good. I had it on the bike for about a year, no, maybe not a year, maybe about 10 months, and I think I did about 8,000 or 9,000 miles with this. And I was convinced it's a good system to have. Blind spot detectors in general are a good thing to have. Before I had it, I was a bit dubious. I thought, well, I've been riding for years. I've never had one before, so why do I suddenly need one now? The thing is, though, when you actually use it and you've got it on a bike, you will appreciate it. And when you take it off, like I did, I removed the system, and then I suddenly felt like I've lost one sense almost. It's difficult to explain this to you, but when you get used to a system being there that's giving you these kind of warnings, it's hard to not have it then. So from that perspective, I think they do work well, and they do add to your safety as a rider. So after the Inovv Third Eye system, I got the Alien Rider. So after the Inovv Third Eye system, I got the Alien Rider M2 Max system in. Now that's not just the blind spot detector, that's got tire pressure monitors, two dash cams, front and rear obviously, and a 6-inch smart display. And that was even better because it displays it on screen, so it flashes up and it cuts to the rear camera and shows you what's coming, as well as warning you that there's something coming. And that was kind of a game changer for me, and I thought this is really good because it catches your eyes when you can see there's something coming. So then after the M2 Max system, I got the Carpuride W702RS Pro, which is this one here. Now the RS Pro basically stands for the unit that has the radar detection with it. And it's fairly basic, and it's almost like the Inovv system where it just warns you one side or the other. Now there's no cameras with that system, so it can't flash them up or anything, but it's a basic system, and at least you have something. I found that it wasn't as reliable as the Inovv one or the Alien Rider system, but it works. But it was given too many false positives for me, where it was like flagging things, but it was cars coming the other way, and it's drawn my attention to it when I don't need to. So that was slightly annoying. Then the latest system that's on the bike just now is with the Alien Rider M2QR, which is this full system. Now this is similar to the M2 Max, but it now has a quick release display. So you can take the display off, and it's got the blind spot detector, tire pressure monitors, and dash cams. The display is slightly bigger than the old M2 Max, not by much, I think by 0.2 of an inch or something. I think it's 6.2 inch versus 6. But to be fair, you can see the difference. If you compare the two, you can see it. All of these systems that I've got in front of me here, I've used them quite extensively. And the M2QR, even though that's only been on the bike for about 4 or 5 weeks, I've now done 3,000 miles with it. I just did a 2,000 mile trip. So the cool thing with the radar detection system on the M2 is something that I haven't found with the others, is the likes of, if you're in the inside lane, like I was going on the Autobahn, I was going across Germany, and I'm sitting in the inside lane, I've got the cruise control on at 80 miles an hour, 130 kilometers an hour or so, and it's shown me if there's a car coming up directly behind me and another one coming up in the middle lane, coming up to pass me as well. So it was giving me warnings for both cars, for 2 cars at a time. And I've got this on film, and I'm going to flash this up here so you can see it. But the first car overtakes me, and then there was a transit van that was coming out quite near behind me, and it was setting off the radar detector, and then it pulled out to go around me and go faster again. And it showed me both cars at the same time. Now, you may think, well, you can just look in your mirrors and see these things. But sometimes that there is a blind spot and you don't see things. And there's also the fact that I'm sitting on a motorway and I'm doing 80 miles an hour with the cruise control on, and I'm just relaxing. I'm not trying to overtake anything. I'm not trying to do anything, but at least the blind spot detector is letting me know when there's things coming up, right? And it's just enough that it flashes up, and the camera changes as well. It brings up the rear cam as well. If you're in CarPlay and you've got Waze running or Google Maps or whatever, it will cut to the camera at the back as they approach, right? So you can have a quick look, and it's warning you there's some coming. So if you need to take any evasive action, sometimes you have cars that come too close to you, or maybe it's just you're not aware and you're weaving a tiny bit, at least it concentrates your mind. I've heard the same argument for all new technology that I've seen on bikes. When I got my first bike with ABS, which was a BMW, I had other riders tell me, well, what the hell do you need that for? Don't you know how to brake? Well, I do know how to brake, but what do you do when someone pulls out a side street and you're doing 50 miles an hour and you have to just brake hard? All that training of like load the brakes first a little bit so the forks dive and then press harder, that all goes out the window. You just brake. You're grabbing big handfuls of brake and you're going to slide. I see the blind spot detection systems being the same in a couple of years' time, maybe 4, maybe even 5 years, I don't know how long, but this will become standard equipment. It already is in cars. You'll notice this, you're going by cars, you see it lighting up in the mirrors, on either side, it will go or amber or red, and you can see the little dot. That's to let them know you're coming up. So they're safety aids, and I think they're really important. And I think even if you haven't used it and you're dubious, you should get it and have it. Now, there is also the Chiggy system on the AIO6. From what I've seen, I'm member of various groups, including the Chiggy group as well, and they seem to be having quite a few issues with that just now. So I'm not comfortable recommending the Chiggy system at this point in time. I've got a friend who's got one, and he said he's stopped using it because it's just not reliable and he doesn't like the way it's working. He's hoping they'll fix that with software updates or whatever. But for the time being, I think I'm going to discount the Chiggy system altogether. I was planning on buying one, but I really don't see the point. I don't want to spend all that money for a system that is not getting great reviews from everyone else anyway. So I'm not going to do that. But for my money, for an all-round system, the Alien Rider M2 QR cannot be beat. You've got the dash cams, you've got the blind spot detector, you've got tire pressure monitors, and you've got a 6.2-inch display, which is quick release. The Inovv is not quick release either, by the way. So if you buy their system, the Inovv N2, which is the latest system, is two key dash cams and the display itself, and that's it. But then if you want the blind spot detector, the Inovv Third Eye, you need to buy that separately. But it doesn't integrate into the system either. So overall, I'm still saying that the Alien Rider is the best all-round system that gives you everything, and it's at a price point that is affordable. Now, the M2QR is just launching right now. I mean, it'll be at the EICMA show in beginning of November in Italy, in Milan. I'm going to be at the show as well, so I'll be doing a few videos there as well anyway, but that's when it's launching. So if you're looking at a system, hold off until this is available. We also have discount codes for this, for Alien Rider anyway now, so you can get like 15% off everything on their website from China. So just hang off and look at some of the reviews I've already done of this, because I've got a version of this before it's actually been released, and I've done reviews of this already, and I've done a full fitting guide of it as well. So have a look at that, and I think that the Alien Rider is the best all-round system. I keep saying this because it just is, and at the price point, you can get this with everything in it for about the same price as just buying like the Chiggy display on its own before you add in all the other stuff that you want to buy. So this comes with everything. And I used the previous model of this for over a year, the M2 Max, and that was faultless. I never had any issues with it either. So anyway, that's my roundup of blind spot detectors. Now, if you have any questions, just ask in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel because it helps me to do more videos like this. Thanks.